Well, I just wanted to first get a background, like just introduce you to everyone so that they know who you are and
Okay.
kind of like how, what kind of a connection do you have to the Jehovah's Witness organization and the XJW community?
Right. Okay. So I started associating with them back in December of 2013. I started, attending the meetings. A sister studied with me for a little while. I started attending the meetings and so on. And I started having really disagreements with the elders almost from the start because I was questioning them and the scriptures and what they were saying was not really one and the same thing. Uh,
Right.
so basically, the first meeting that I had with them, in response to my request to become an unbaptized publisher, accused me of having thoughts that might be greedy and different things like that. And what they said to me is that they didn't want me to contact anyone about my health products, but to let
Mhm.
people come to me. And so then I was given detailed admonitions about the snares of greed and exploitation and covetousness and examining our motives. And instead of keeping our eyes simple, we have complicated our lives and the lives of others with tempting business dealings. And so, I was wondering, what are they talking about?
Oh my God.
You know, because
Yeah.
uh, you know, I had not, had contacted anyone about any products. I wasn't, interested in selling anything. And the only time that health came up was in conversation. Like some of the sisters, well, when they get to a certain age, they're always talking about, aches and pains and, their health problems and this and that and the other thing.
Right.
Like God, what God gave us, everything that God
Right.
in nature, that's what we should do instead of, filling ourselves with medications that are not natural. And of
Right.
course,
But just like you saying those things, you were already a threat to them. They were already viewing you like, watch this one. She's talking about other stuff.
but the thing is that I pointed them right away to the scriptures, in Matthew, and in Matthew, it tells us that if anyone has a problem, that they should come and speak to us about it first.
Right.
And then if that doesn't work, then they should bring a friend or two. And then if
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't work, then they should go to the congregation. But no one went to them and no one came to me. And so I was wondering, what is this about? You know, because I know definitely that we should follow the scriptures. And the other thing is we have freedom of speech. And I was not even a baptized, Jehovah's Witness. I was just a member of the public. Okay.
Oh, okay. Did
Okay.
you end up getting baptized later on?
No, I never got baptized.
Oh, wow.
I never got so basically I started having an argument or a disagreement with them right from the start. I said to them, on the plaque outside the building here, it says, that this is the Kingdom Hall is a public place of worship. Public.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
And so this is why I'm taking them to the Human Rights Tribunal. Okay, because the
Mm-hmm.
the Kingdom Hall is a public place of worship. It's not for them, to have the attitude that that's their Kingdom Hall and that they can rule over you whichever way they want. And I showed them scriptures about that as well. So before you know it, they knew me as the person, you know, don't
Mm-hmm.
approach me unless you're going to come at me with scriptures. You know,
Oh, that's a good point. I mean,
yeah,
that's exactly what they do to us. So they don't
exactly.
like it when it's done to them.
Especially by a sister.
Yes. So, I just want to give just a little bit of background for anybody who's watching, how we kind of met. We met when you kind of were emailing me just,
Yeah.
finding our stuff on YouTube. We've done a lot of, like you've seen the video that we did about Operation Spotlight. It was a lot of countries that got involved, and we sent letters to President Trump
And
asking him
and
to
this is
do.
so weird. That's the one
Uh-huh.
video that I watched, and it's so weird because you guys were starting to talk about the Human Rights Tribunal. And this is so, weird. You just started about that before I decided to take these elders to the Human Rights Tribunal.
Yes, yeah, I just wanted to read those first two paragraphs just for anybody who's listening. You wrote to me, for all those whose lives have been destroyed by Watchtower, there is something you can do. I am taking the elders of two congregations and the Canadian branch to the Human Rights Tribunal. The Watchtower organization has violated all our human rights. There are human rights tribunals in every city and most countries. The Human
Exactly.
Rights Tribunal is a government organization. They defend your rights and hold violators of our human rights accountable. You don't need a lawyer, only the facts and evidence. So that's what I wanted you to kind of elaborate on, and your own work of what do you plan on doing?
Well, I've already made I've already submitted my complaint to the Human Rights
Oh.
Tribunal, and they've already responded to me. And
Oh,
yeah, and this is
interesting.
already in the works. This is already in the works, and there's no way that they're going to refuse my request because everything that they did was contrary to our human rights. Did you
Right.
did you ever see that video about what happened? I decided, for this past April to go to the Kingdom Hall on the evening of the memorial.
Mm-hmm.
So this was this past April 12th. I
Yep.
decided to go to the memorial. And that was after speaking to a brother at the Canadian branch and asked him, as if I didn't know, is everyone welcome, to go to
Right.
the memorial? And they said, of course, everyone is welcome. And when I went there, one of the brothers recognized me and said, "You're not welcome here."
Oh no.
And so I thought, okay, but the thing is that I knew that now I had them because everyone is welcome, what, except for me? Okay, this is
Right, right.
discrimination.
Like if there's not an actual real reason for you not to be there, they are just using like revoking people's invitations just because they don't like you.
Exactly. Or because whatever, but whatever does not matter because our human right is to, this is a public place of worship. And so as a result, unless the person is causing a disturbance or is a threat,
Right,
to themselves or someone else, they have nothing to go on. As a matter of
right.
fact, one of the brothers there said, "You're not welcome. And also, if you don't leave, we're going to call the police." And I said, "Call the police for what?
Oh my
What
gosh.
have I
That's
done?"
horrible. No, that's actually really horrible in my
It's a
opinion
horrible
because it's
experience. But
yes.
the thing is that they set themselves up so badly, for my complaint and my taking them to the Human Rights Tribunal because everything that they said, they just put a noose around their neck. Everything that they said that evening. Because I asked
Right.
brother, what have I done? Have I committed a crime? Have I done anything wrong? And basically I said, if you call the police, you're only going to shame yourselves because I'm,
Yeah.
a little woman wanting to go, to the memorial because this is what Jesus requested of us. I mean, do you know the scriptures or what? Is what you decide as elders more important than me following what Jesus has told us to do in memory of
Right,
him.
right.
Okay. So this is big. This is one of our human rights that they, crossed all lines about that.
Yeah. I
So
mean, it sounds like it just sounds like discrimination. And
of
since
course,
yeah, and it's almost like religious discrimination. So it's like why can't you as a member of the public worship with them whenever you want? Why are you being kicked out?
exactly. Well, they have no right to not allow someone. in a public place of worship. And not only that, but the thing is that the Canadian branch told me before I went that everyone is welcome to go.
Right.
Okay, so there's a contradiction. How can there be a contradiction, among a religion and where there's a Canadian branch and they're supposed to be overseeing all the kingdom halls in Canada? And how can it be that the Canadian branch says, yes, everyone is welcome? I looked on their website, there's no doubt about it. And then the branch
Mm-hmm.
says, no, everyone is not welcome. And not only
Wow.
that, but he said, this is not, get this now, this is not a public place of worship. It isn't? What does it say on
Wow.
the plaque outside?
Oh no, yeah, they just resort to lies. They just.
Okay. So this is why I'm saying we can get them, okay, on
Yeah.
even on religion, because they contradict themselves, they lie, they don't use the scriptures. Okay, we can prove if we all got together, all the different channels on YouTube, if
Mm-hmm.
we all got together and whenever we went, to the Human Rights Tribunal, we gathered up all these people as witnesses,
Mm-hmm.
we would shame them to hell.
Yes. And I do know like you're in Canada right now, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't
Okay,
matter
so
because you guys can do this in the States, and even better for us, the States is even stronger. The States has an even stronger human rights tribunal. Not only that, but in the States, you can actually sue in the human rights tribunal for criminal for criminal,
Mhm.
and this is how we met because I wanted for us to get them in, for criminal activity as a crime. What they are
Yes, yes.
doing is criminal, and our human rights, not only do they violate our human rights and civil ones, but even into the criminal point, because what they're doing, as we know, how they cover up and everything of what they're doing is criminal, especially where child sexual abuse is concerned. And we know how they've been hiding. They would have to be, it's the same would apply to a Kingdom Hall. If they know of a pedophile, they have to, release his name so as to protect the rest, the
Right.
congregation, which they've been getting away with for years.
Yeah, because I doubt that they even do that.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah, it's very sketchy.
so no, this is what I'm saying. It's black and white, but we just haven't taken them, to the Human Rights Tribunal. We have not been doing our work, but we're finally getting together and we're finally putting our heads together. And Jimmy, this is the reason that I wanted his contact number. He put the nail on the head when he said, if you're an activist, we have to do some action here. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
That was the call that Jimmy Bell had, and he initiated Operation Spotlight. We all sent those letters to President Trump for an inquiry. A lot of great people he had on the team, and in Spain, it took the media over there,
yeah, yeah. And
and they have a lot of
fantastic.
articles already out.
And definitely, President Trump can make it happen. President Trump and Kennedy. But the thing is that we can, work on another angle, which is the Human Rights Tribunal, and we can work on the angle of religion. They have
Right.
violated our religious freedom,
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and
I
we
talk
can
about that all the time. Yeah.
Exactly, and we can prove that at the Human Rights Tribunal. And the more of us that there are, and look at we're hundreds, we're thousands, we're millions of us. Now, all we have to do, because all of that can be counted as evidence, all of that can be entered in the Human Rights Tribunal. It's like a class action lawsuit that they have never experienced. They're used to, little tiny cases of, for example, an employer taking away the human rights of an employee about his religion or her religion. Okay,
Right.
that's what they're used to dealing with. They're not used to dealing with, you know, former Jehovah Witnesses who have been violated and whose rights have been violated for hundreds of years. But let's just go back in the past 20 or 10 or 5. Okay,
Oh yeah.
many millions, and all of the YouTube channels, that's all that they talk about. Testimony upon testimony upon testimony that we can use.
Yeah,
These
that's a really good idea. I'm so glad that you started already, you started that in Canada because there's a lot of extra W's from Canada. I know a couple of them, they're on Discord.
Well,
So I want to
I,
connect you guys.
but the thing is that we need to unite. Okay. And so this is why I'm glad that you got in touch with me because, this is what I'm saying. What I did, if you look at that video, I made the example that, for example, McDonald's is a franchise, KFC is a franchise, Starbucks, Pizza Hut, all of these work under a sort of a franchise system. Or similarly to that would be a network marketing system. Or
Mhm.
similarly to that would be a class action system, which would be in legal terms. So if
Right.
we all united, as I mentioned, our action and all the YouTube channels united by sharing our message, we would be so strong, we would be a force to really reckon with. The video that I made talks about that, and I encourage everyone, all of the YouTube video people. I reached out to Vern. I reached out to you. I reached out to Laura X Timber, and she's a fantastic interviewer. And she responded to my email, and she wants to interview me as well. I reached out to Miss Usato of avoidjw.org, and she responded to my email, about this. So people are definitely interested. I even reached out to Joe and Fran. Imagine having all of us in a Zoom call. You see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
All
And
of us,
and also Jimmy Bell, I
and
think.
especially him,
Yeah.
especially this is
He'll be
why.
great.
Okay, this is why I wanted his contact information. Now, we could make a huge difference here because we could demand that the kingdom halls are warned about all pedophiles in the congregation. Instead of shielding them criminals, criminals, like I said to you, have a record that is public.
Hmm.
So pedophiles have a public record. And we
Hmm.
want then kingdom halls to stop shielding and hiding pedophiles. And we want them to pay millions and millions and millions of dollars in restoration for all the harm that has been done to victims. We're not just after money. We're actually after our human rights and for the Rights Tribunal to do their job. These are the conversations that we need to have, on Zoom meeting. Imagine starting out, with six or 12 of us and then inviting people to join in the Zoom meeting.
Oh yes, I know another extra W kind of activist. Her name is Rita Ivy. She was the one who organized the Washington D.C. protest. And
Fantastic.
I think she might also be another great organizer, a person that can organize a large group of people. And that's why I appreciate like Jimmy Bell when he started the letter writing campaign. If we can get extra W's in all different states,
Yeah.
in the United States to write letters or make phone calls to their offices
Well,
of
no,
human rights.
what we need to do is start, a human rights tribunal action. Make a complaint, and then all of us be in as witnesses and join in the complaint. And the complaint would be against, the Watchtower organization. So we can nail elders, we can take them to the Human Rights Tribunal, and then have all these witnesses. There's a girl that has a YouTube channel about shunning, stop the shunning.
Yep.
You know, how many of us, are victims of shunning?
Yep.
Except for you. Anyway,
Yeah, like 99% of all of us are either
exactly,
in fear of being shunned, so
exactly.
we fake it, or we just come out and we're being
E-
shunned anyways. It's a lose-lose
Exactly.
situation.
Now she has, how many witnesses that she have of shunning, all these people that she has interviewed. That
Yep.
itself, you could use that. That's a witness. That's a witness that could be brought to the Human Rights Tribunal, and it's in video.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally get it because
You know,
I was one of the first people out here talking about the religious discrimination because I got baptized in another religion and my mom shuns me because of that. And we're supposed to have freedom of religion in the United States. So why am I being, punished for exercising my right to practice a different religion?
exactly. So, I mean, all of us, could start a human rights tribunal action, but we don't need, all of us. All we need is, even one or however many people want to. But the thing is that once they know how to do it, and it's so simple, filling out a human rights tribunal complaint, you just go on their website. That's why I said there's a human rights tribunal in every city and almost every country. And filling out
Mhm.
a form is the easiest thing to do. You go on their website and they teach you everything step by step.
Right. Okay. So that's the message that we wanted to give the viewers, anybody who is interested in doing this, to do exactly what you just said,
And
and
or join
for all
us.
over.
Join us. The best thing is for them to join us, for us to say, okay, we're gonna, in America, we're gonna have Ruby start an action plan against, the governing body or the elders or whoever we decide. Whoever is going to do the action plan, and then we all join in as witnesses. Okay.
Right.
How
Yes. Good
powerful,
idea.
how powerful is that? So that way they don't, we have someone who's a leader type to start the action. And then they just join as witnesses because, most people, I don't know, they're afraid for some reason or other to start something. It's like, ooh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You and I, we are not afraid. We were born with something different in us. We're not afraid of starting
Yes,
things.
yes. And there's a lot of other great people that have great resources that can do a lot behind the scenes. We just have to get the word out there, the message. You have to
Exactly. And
ignite that little fire
exactly.
in you to do something again, because sometimes we get discouraged. A lot of people are dealing with things in life and we don't have support systems anymore. We
But
only have each
everyone,
other.
but everyone can be a witness, and they already have. They already have been a witness on all of these YouTube channels. We have
Yep.
thousands and thousands, okay, of live witnesses. Okay.
Yeah.
All we need
Yeah.
is their okay to say, yeah, definitely use my, story or use my, testimony. It's a testimonial. It's a testimonial that can be used in court.